Some body cam footage coming in. Just really disgusting stuff. You know, you think that this is kind of just like once in a lifetime, right? This can only happen once. And yet here we are, the second time in a matter of weeks. So there's a bigger conversation to be had. And in my estimation, some blame to go around. But here's what we know at this point. The guy was 58 years old. His name is Ryan Wesley. Ralph, that's who they are accusing of having tried to assassinate the president. This would be the second attempt on President Trump's life. He was there at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. Let me show you. This is courtesy of the Daily Mail. And we have a graphic here of where they were at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, about 15 minutes from Trump's residence. That would be Mar-a-Lago. And the gunman was apparently first seen by Secret Service agents who were sweeping the golf course ahead of Donald Trump playing that course. Now, we're told the agents go hole to hole, usually, just to, check everything out and sweep the course ahead of him playing. And so they were going hole to hole, doing their security checks. And what do you know? They see a muzzle of a rifle sticking out of a bush. I mean, my gosh, you guys, you cannot make this stuff up. I mean, you really can't make it up? How on earth did this guy get in there in the first place? I would like to know. I mean, don't they have any kind of precursors? Hey, look, I'm happy they got him, right? I'm happy that they stopped him from firing. He was allegedly 400 to 600 yards, 300 to 500 yards away from the president. So they apparently intercepted, they, quote, immediately engaged this person holding the rifle, and then this person took off. Again, I'm stuck on what the heck is going on that somebody's able to get in to begin with. That shouldn't be able to, they shouldn't be able to do that. Like, especially after what we just went through there in Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. Anyway, they went after him. He ran away, carrying 2 knapsacks, apparently a scope used for aiming a weapon and a GoPro camera, and a witness saw him getting into a black Nissan, and then he sped off. At which point, they found him 38 miles away. I'm stunned at how bad our Secret Service is. I mean, we got to be able to do better than this, ladies and gentlemen. For goodness sakes, if I'm Joe Biden, and by the way, he's upset about this, as he should be, because, like, are you a sitting duck? Kamala, are you a sitting duck? I mean, if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. Let's just be very clear. There is clearly no real effort being put into protecting our former presidents and our candidates, if you ask me. Anyway, they have some stuff on social media about this guy. You can see him here being arrested. He was apparently laughing as they read him the charges. I want to play with you something from one of the county sheriffs talking on Fox earlier today.
Where is the suspect now? I know he's behind bars, but where?
Well, what we did is we turned him over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. So I don't know where he is right now. Okay.
Did he say any? How did he know that Donald Trump was going to be playing golf? How did he have access to his schedule?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. We are the border county to Palm Beach. You can't get out of their county without coming through ours. But we don't have the intel from the scene there. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to imagine how he got within rifle range of President Trump.
Yeah.
Hard for you to imagine, hard for everybody to imagine. Again, like, how did he know the schedule? How did he know to be there? Was this just luck? I think we've got a lot of questions right now. We don't have a lot of faith. Thank you very much. In the Secret Service, or any other organization for that matter, I'm just going to, cast a wide net, because I'll tell you, Blumenthal did. This is a Democrat senator from Connecticut, okay? And he came out, I played you this sound, going into the weekend. It's like eerie to hear it now. And he was freaking out because he's doing an investigation, a bipartisan investigation into what went down in Butler County. And he's like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe some of the things that we found out. And I think we're going to believe it, because here it is, it happened again. We're going to talk about why it happened. We're going to talk about how we make sure it doesn't happen. But let me just play for you Senator Blumenthal. Again, he's a Democrat, okay? And he's shocked by the incompetency. And let's hope it's just that. Let's just hope it's incompetency and nothing more. Here we go.
I think the American people are going to be shocked, astonished, and appalled by what we will report to them about the failures by the Secret Service in this assassination attempt on the former president. But I think they also ought to be appalled and astonished by the failure of the Department of Homeland Security to be more forthcoming, to be as candid and frank as it should be to them in terms of providing information. And we are going to absolutely insist on the truth and the whole truth in documents and testimony.
Okay, and we need more truth. Okay, Richard Blumenthal and everybody else, we need a whole lot more truth. And by the way, as we're working on that, can you guys actually do your jobs in the interim? Can we actually get Secret Service and the FBI and everybody else to be doing their jobs? Because this guy should have been maybe just a little bit on their radar. I mean, he was a crazy guy. He was out there with all kinds of social posts, which have now been disappearing in thin air. Here you go. You can watch them disappear in real time. Take a look. ASAP, right? So they got to get rid of all this. But, he said some pretty heinous stuff. He was obviously really, I guess the word would be sort of radicalized. He was very, very pro-Ukraine, so pro-Ukraine that he actually went over to Ukraine and was trying to bring in illegally, by the way. He was trying to get fake passports for people from Afghanistan. And folks had been in Afghanistan fighting, soldiers there. He wanted to bring them in to Ukraine to fight there. And he was angry that he couldn't get the passports. And he spoke to the New York Times about it. He spoke to Newsweek about it. This is going back a couple of years. So they have documentation of it. What, they think he was a hero? Why are you interviewing this guy? In fairness to the New York Times, and I am not a big fan of the New York Times. In fact, I had a little run-in with them this weekend because they're going off about me about something. It's always something, and it's always taken out of context. Anyway, the New York Times, in fairness to them, they actually did paint a picture of this guy being kind of a Looney Tune, right? Because he was trying to recruit people from Afghanistan and other sordid places overseas and trying to bring them into Ukraine to fight for Ukraine because Ukraine was the be-all, end-all. Here he writes in Facebook in July, "Soldiers, please do not call me. We are still trying to get Ukraine to accept Afghan soldiers and hope to have some answers in the coming months. Please have patience." So he apparently was too old to fight, but he was again recruiting people. He had pictures of himself in Kiev. He had pictures of himself in DC. He reportedly, although it's never been confirmed, was trying to meet with congressmen and women there on Capitol Hill, trying to get financing for people to come and fight in Ukraine. So he was looking for military recruits in, as I said, all kinds of sordid places. This guy is sort of a bad dude, all right? He was going on about his pro-Palestinian, pro-Taiwan, anti-China messages. Look, you can have messages. You can have beliefs. Who am I to say that my beliefs are right and your beliefs are wrong? You may be really passionate about something, and that's all fine and well. But at what point are you becoming radicalized here? And I think that's the question that we need to start to ask, the soul searching that needs to start happening. Because look what happened in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Look what just happened there on Donald Trump's golf course. I mean, this is getting rather scary, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump pointing it out that the radical talk, the aggressive, frankly violent talk you've been hearing from the left is so dangerous that it may be the reason why these two attempts on his life have now happened. Here he is in the debate with Kamala Harris, just as an aside, mentioning that her rhetoric was quite dangerous. Oh, how ABC shut him down so fast. We're going to talk about ABC because they got a whole set of problems coming up in a little bit. But Trump is blaming Kamala Harris for this. He was blaming her there in that debate. And now that this has happened, he's blaming her yet again. I want to share with you part of what he said. He actually did an interview with Fox News Digital. Great reporter over there, Brooke Singman. I know her well. He spoke to her and he said, the would-be gunman, quote, believed the rhetoric of Biden and Harris, and he acted on it. Their rhetoric, he said, quote, is causing me to be shot at when I am the one who is going to save the country, and they are the ones who are destroying the country. both from the inside and out. So a very passionate commentary from Donald Trump there, speaking to Brooke over at Fox News Digital. I want to show you Bloomberg's response. So this is a Bloomberg write-through. If you're looking on the screen, again, we're live on YouTube. And I encourage anybody who's listening on Apple or on Spotify, that's fantastic. You can join us every day live. Make sure you hit the bell so you know when I'm live. And you can join the conversation. Careful what you write, because I look at everything. Anyway, we're going to get to your comments in a moment. Here's Bloomberg writing about Donald Trump, that he did not provide evidence. They're saying he did not provide evidence for his claims. The claims there that he just made to Brooke over at Fox News Digital. But the remarks emphasized how the Republican nominee planned to seize on the latest dramatic turn in one of the most chaotic presidential campaigns in modern political history. In other words, they're saying he is such a political animal. He had absolutely no evidence to say that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the Democrats are encouraging this. And then the Harris campaign did not immediately respond for a request for comment. I mean, wow, guys, wow. So it took them a little while, but eventually they came up with some evidence. Do we need it? I mean, how many times have you heard on television the Democrats saying over and over and over again how he's a threat to democracy and how he's basically Mussolini or worse, Hitler? I mean, they've said some pretty horrible stuff. I've played a lot of it for you on this show. I don't really want to play it again. I actually feel like it's kind of irresponsible to be playing this stuff. But you know what? They put out a 3-page letter quoting some of the things, and it's pretty heinous. So let's just like take a little walk down memory lane, shall we? Kamala Harris repeatedly said, and still says, quote, Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. Another quote from Kamala, it's on us to recognize the threat. He poses, Kamala saying, does one of us have to come out alive? Ha, ha, ha. This was in some little exchange that she did with some afternoon sitcom host, Ellen. Okay, Ellen, how could I forget Ellen's name? So Ellen DeGeneres sat down with Kamala Harris, and she said, hey, you know, if you're in an elevator with these guys, you know, and so she's joking about, does one of us have to come out alive? Joe Biden literally said, okay, I'm going to quote this, it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. This is Joe Biden. This is like a few months ago. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is right before actually Pennsylvania happened. Joe Biden said, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Trump is a threat to this nation. Joe Biden said there is one existential threat. It's Donald Trump. Trump is a genuine threat to the nation. He's literally a threat to everything America stands for. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Representative Nancy Pelosi, Trump is a threat to our democracy, the kind that we have not seen. This Jasmine Crockett, some representative from Texas, MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically. Representative Dan Goldman, he is destructive to our democracy and he has to be eliminated. Like, this guy actually said that rather recently. He has to be eliminated. I mean, what kind of people say things like this? As I've said all along, I mean, you can have your politics, right? But it's going too far. It's going way too far. And I think everybody's had enough. It's gotten to the point where it is indeed dangerous. But you know what? It's not Donald Trump that's dangerous, guys. He's the one in danger at this point. It's actually these people that keep saying this heinous, horrible stuff over and over and over again. I was looking at this Dan Goldman soundbite. This Dan Goldman, who is such a lightweight, you know, he's out there just pumping Biden nonsense, right? Hunter Biden nonsense, trying to say that, you know, Hunter Biden was not doing anything that he shouldn't have been doing when he was somehow calling his dad from a dinner with a bunch of people from foreign places that were paying him probably for access, right? I mean, wow. And he tries to justify it, this Dan Goldman. Here he is with Jen Psaki, the former flack, for lack of a better word, at the White House. KJP took over for her. She, you know, got her own show on MSNBC, of course. Listen to Dan Goldman, the representative from New York.
Unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
Woo! Okay, so like you got to start to wonder, at what point does some of the crazies out there take that language and run with it? And maybe, just maybe, Mr. Goldman, you ought to police your vocabulary a little bit. You ought to Remember that you are an upstanding member of Congress. If we can say that, consider your position. Consider your influence. Don't say stuff that is going to inspire the crazies to come out of the woodwork. I mean, we don't need that at this point in time. We didn't need it from Joe Biden. We don't need it right now from Kamala Harris. We don't need it from any members of Congress or Nancy Pelosi. It is high time that everybody just kind of take it down a notch, okay? In the spirit of that, this will say, oh, you know, Trish, you're doing the wrong thing because you're talking about this, that, and the other. Well, listen, somebody has to say it, all right? So you guys, knock it off. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, enough is enough. All right, what do you, it's 2 times? You want to make it 3 or 4? I mean, for goodness sakes, at some point, you know, the cat has only 9 lives, right? He's going to run out of opportunities. You've got to stop this. I can't believe that I'm even doing a show where we're talking about this. I mean, I just can't believe how the vitriol has reached such a disgusting level. And I'm frightened for our country. I'm frightened for our former president. Frankly, I'm even frightened for Kamala Harris because I don't think this is a good place for any of us to be right about now. Nope, not at all. It's a really bad place.